Texas. What time is it in Texas, Alecia?
It's a crisp evening at 5:30 p.m. in the Texas, spring air. It's a beautiful day here in Houston,
Excellent.
Texas.
Excellent. Well, it's so wonderful to be collaborating with you with the set of trainings that we're going to be doing. And today we're talking about the top 5 tips for mobile phone video recording. I'm going to get into those in just a moment or two. But let's start by finding a bit about you. Some people might not have, they might discover who is Alecia Stringer. Maybe tell a few things about you that perhaps the audience doesn't know.
Oh, goodness. Sure. I'm famous on YouTube.
You're famous on YouTube?
So you can find some of those. No, I've been marketing for over 15 years and been in the game of online marketing and helping small business entrepreneurs get some wins with their social media. So I call myself an expert on navigating their target audiences and really getting in front of them and being visible and helping them do what they love, not, spend so much time where they don't have to do those ongoing task of remembering everybody's birthday, but they want to remember that you remembered them. Those little things go a long way. So
Awesome. Well, as I said, we're going to dive into the top 5 tips in just a moment. Before we do that, we want to let you know that we have a 30-minute training where we're going to be doing the top 5 tips. Actually, we're going to do the top 10. We're going to give it top 10. So we're going to cover off the 5 easiest ones today, I think. And then we're going to give you more detail and more show and tell and perhaps some examples of video content that that people can shoot on a mobile phone. And so we're going to do that next Friday, your time, I think around about 11 or 12 p.m. It'll be bright and early on a Saturday morning here in New Zealand. So the top 5 tips, for me, the number one challenge I think most people the biggest mistake that people make is which camera should they use? And for me, most people, we're so used to doing selfies that we often use the front camera of our phone. And I know it's when you want with one person, you're by yourself, it's going to be challenging, right? Have you ever done videos on your phone, Alecia?
Yes, I've challenged with playing piano and having hands off. Which way is best? Turning it around and getting the side view versus let me go and set it up right and walk around to it. Now, people remember me from those piano videos. I didn't notice it for like years. They would just watch the few seconds of me walking to the piano.
And look, selfie videos, it is the easiest to do. The challenge that we have for business owners doing video on their mobile phone by using the front camera is they tend to look at themselves. And just like I am now, the audience is where the camera lens is, not by looking at yourself. And there's this disconnect that we as the audience receive when we're looking at this video, and it's like, are they looking at me, or are they're looking at themselves? What are they doing looking at themselves? It's just kind of weird. So recommend that you use the back camera wherever possible. It's going to be easier if you have a tripod, so then you can set up the shot beforehand. And people say, how do I do that? Literally set up your tripod, set up your camera, set up your phone, and press record, go and sit in the spot where you think you're going to be, make sure the frame is right, get that all set up, then go back around, check it all, and then you're good to go. And you might need to do that, a couple of times, but that's really the main one, I think, is try and use the back camera. They say that the back camera is a better camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, have you ever had this? So that's really the first tip, use the back camera wherever possible. Number 2 is, have you ever done a video when a call is coming in, Alecia?
Usually I set it on airplane mode before that happens, so rarely it does.
Tip number 2, put it in airplane mode. Yeah. Well, Alecia said it. And you there's that little beepy sound that kind of comes through if you don't turn it off airplane. And there's nothing worse than doing a video and you're so psyched up, you're in the moment, you got to remember what you got to say, you got to release all that tension, and then, oh my gosh, that's a call coming in. What's going on? So that's tip number 2. Number 3 is, Alecia, you're pretty big on Instagram, right?
I used to be, yeah. Got lots of channels I manage, so for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm live on Instagram now, so
So
figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. So the things you need to consider is, where is the video going to be going will determine the angle of the phone. And for most people, it's just the default to like pick up your phone and go, I'm going to shoot this way, right? I'm going to shoot vertically, and that's fine for TikTok. It's fine for Instagram, but for YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, where a lot of us oldies tend to be, that tends to be, you're going to need to turn the phone around. So that's tip number 3 is think about.
It was a challenge. Yeah, I made that change about 2 years ago, where I did more videos vertically, and it was a hard challenge for me, because I kept seeing in Facebook they're going to show more of the video and in the feed, and I was like, for Facebook videos, I'm going to try vertically, and it's gotten more views because they're pushing more of those reels and the vertical aspects of it. And then YouTube is going to adapt. So if you have those, but I like the slide, like you can get so much more, you can see the whole piano. So we have our preferences, We're old school. I like the white.
Old school. Yeah, it's I think, I mean, I think we've kind of moved on from, I mean, people, back in the early days, people needed to look perfect, right? Well, you're never going to look perfect. That's never going to be a tip. But in Facebook and LinkedIn, you'll see those big lines down the left-hand side, right-hand side of the frame, and it can be off-putting for some people. Now it's sort of like, oh well, at least they've recorded the video. Don't get too hung up on it. But that's tip number 3: is think about the angle. Have you tried doing a video, and have you seen people doing videos and they're literally their face is right up here next to the camera? How does that look, Alecia?
It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, especially if they're kind of looking up there, or they're exactly.
I've seen like burgers or something hanging out. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I know. So you do need to be mindful. I should say tits up. Chest up. Chest up.
Oh, I thought you said tits up.
I did say tits up. But you get the general. We can get away with that. At the end of the head and shoulders, right? We don't need to see what's down there, and we don't need to see this big gap above you. It's sorry, I realized my shirt's too. You want to be in that top 2/3 of the frame. I always kind of look at it and say, okay, your head's there, the body's here. If you're going to add captions to it, you want the captions to be along here, not in front of your face. So just for the optimal audience engagement, optimal audience viewing pleasure. And the tip number 5 for you, is, do you think about what is behind you, Alecia?
I do. This is actually a busy scene behind me that I'm not used to. And so I always like to have my piano in the background. And so this is a different environment. And I usually like to do something in nature as well. Make sure there is water behind me. I've done lots of training with videos that it just captures, people are looking at the background and water behind me. So one time I did a whole video series. There was a tree over water, and my daughter had to be with me. I couldn't, keep her anywhere else. So I was doing videos and watching her climb this tree. And I know doing those videos, people were just watching my daughter behind me, listening to what I had to say, because it was captivating watching the daughter over the water and what she was doing. You're like, are you seeing what your girl's doing? Like, so that is, it doesn't matter what's happening around you. Kids are going to be there. You're going to have, life happens. But that's what's kind of more important. They want to know that you're real and that life happens around you, and you're going to still me in video.
Yeah, she said it in one. I love it. And it's like people have you see people on Zoom and that they've always got, some people have the blurred background. And I get it. If your background isn't conducive to business, then think about changing where your filming location is, because people look at the background. I always say, what does the background say about you? And look, I'm a big fan of, books. People go, oh, well, he's got lots of books. He's kind of well read. Yeah. If there's some awards or some plants, reflective things, perhaps not so good, but
vision boards.
People, and 100%, people look at what's behind you and they think, oh, it's if it's an interesting background, it'll be an interesting you. But anyway, there we go. There's five tips for you. We're going to dive into another 5. They're probably going to be having some of the gear like tripods and phone mounts and lighting and some microphones and audio. How do we optimize, or probably the top 10 tips. And that's going to be in our training, which is a free 30-minute training. We'll put a link below this live. You'll be able to register for free. And that's going to be USA time, or Central time at least. That's at midday. And 7 a.m. This is really more for your audience, Alecia, mainly, isn't it?
Yeah.
7 a.m. In New Zealand. And any last words? What are you doing for the weekend, Alecia?
Oh, just relaxing. We're just trying to recoup with all the learning I got today from Howard Partridge, and he gave us a lot of books, so it'd be really nice to relax. My favorite thing is just kind of going to a park, like I said, room, water maybe, and reading. And I love to do that and relax and do some things. So if people catch me live on, Instagram or something like that, they're going to find me out there. So be sure to keep following our feeds and seeing, what inspires you as you relax this weekend, and find different ways to uplift and inspire more people.
Excellent. You do that, and we will see you next week. And if you have any questions pertaining to any of the things we've mentioned today, drop those in the comments below, and we will round out and come and see you. But join us on the training next Friday. And until then, see you later, Alecia.